Hey guys, this is Chodaros. We've got a new tutorial today on this bracelet here, which is called the Elementrix bracelet. It is designed by Jasmine from Jazz's Looms on Instagram. It is a traditional 3-pin bar setup and has pretty neat looping techniques, so it's unique. I like this one here. I made in all limited edition bands, which can be found on rainbowloom.com. I used the purple bands for the border, and these little bands on the sides, they kind of raise up. These are actually bands that I've had a while back. They are from DIY. That is the brand of bands they are. You can find them on Amazon. The inner wrapped bands are the limited edition Rainbow Loom pink, and the white single chain going down the center is the white from the Yin Yin pack. So this is the back side here, which is just, you know, pretty much 3 single chains going up. So it's pretty cool. The inside does kind of fall in. So this is going to be the one that we're going to make today. In this one, which I will show you again when we go into doing the tutorial, I used all, what can't I think of it? They're the metallics, I'm sorry. So this is the metallic gold, metallic blue, and then metallic white in the center. So just in difference from the first one that I've done, the border bands and the raised bands on the sides I did in the same color, which is just different from this one. I used a lighter purple on that. So it is a very simple design. So let's get our supplies and let's get started. So we will be needing our loom in the normal configuration and as many colors as you desire. I prefer to do just the 3. I think it's 3, but I will be using what obviously is in the bracelet that I showed you earlier, which is the Rainbow Loom metallic blue, metallic white, and metallic gold. So the metallic gold will be used for the border, so we'll just stick one like that so we can wrap it up when we're done. And we're just going to add a border as we normally do, all the way up both sides. I'm going to add mine together to do this quickly. And this bracelet looks great with any type of band, which is good. You're not limited to a thicker band or limited edition or anything of that nature, so pretty versatile. Okay, so as a majority of our bracelets, when we use the original configuration, we just go from the outer pegs to the center in that V shape. Okay, so our next step is we want to add another single chain going up the middle, and naturally that will be the single chain that you see in the bracelet, so it is visible. So you may want to use some type of highlighting color that will kind of show through. And one more at the end, so we push all those down. So adding bands is pretty simple. It's what we're used to as far as pattern. It's just the looping that's completely different. Okay, so our next set of bands are going to be laid in V's, and they're not touching. Okay, so we're going to go from the second middle peg out to the right, second middle peg out to the left. Okay, and we're just going to follow that all the way up the loom, but we're going to start on a new peg in the middle so our V's do not touch. We have a space in between our V's. Doesn't matter if you put the left on first or the right, but we do continue that all the way up our loom. And this is the color that wraps on your bracelet, so it kind of wraps around the single chain in the middle, so it will be pretty visible, but to me it's the color you would choose as a good color that will go with your border. Okay, and this will be the last one that we do, which goes up to these pegs right here. So on my example right here, okay, so I used gold for the purple, and then the white here, my center chain, I used white here as well, and the blue that I'm using now is the pink in this bracelet. And then our next band that we're going to lay is going to be the band that pops up. So it depends on whether you want it to be a contrasting color, you know, so you can see that band pop up, or if you want it to just match the rest of your bracelet. So I am going to choose gold and have it match my border. So with this, we're going to go into the second peg up, and because we have a staggered configuration, we have a straight line going across. So we just lay this band straight across like that, all the way up. Excuse me. Alright, so our last one, and then we have our last band there where we start out. So this is the completion of adding all of our bands. So this is what your loom should look like. Pretty simple. So we're going to turn it around, and we do need to add a cap band right here, and I suggest using your border color. So we're just going to wrap that one around there. And so our first step in the looping process is looping up the center chain. So that should be your first band on top from your cap band. And you're going to go through some other bands, as it is the bottom and only band on the middle pin bar. So you're going to be grabbing other bands, but that's okay because it all works out. This is probably the most simple or traditional part of the bracelet as far as looming, as we get into a little bit of a different technique right now. So we want to go ahead and push all of that down. Okay, and so our next step is we laid these triangle bands, or V bands, I'm sorry. When we laid them, they were V's going up, now they're V's going down. So you want to look inside this white teardrop, and you want to see your blue or your V bands. So this right V band is on top. So that's the one I want to take. If your left band is on top, you want to take that. So whichever V band is on top. Mine is on the right, so I want to take that and place it back down to itself. Now, we did do the center chain in the middle, so it is going to look like this because we already looped that. So it is going to be cut on there, which is completely fine. But that's what it should look like when you're finished looping them back to themselves. So again, we go into this next one. My right is on top, so I'd like to take the right one first and then follow with the left. Both of them going back down to their original location with a different type of shape, which is non-traditional teardrop. So we do that all the way up our loom. And these are, as we do this step, this is what makes, oh, my apologies. As we do that step there, that's what makes the bands wrap in the middle there. So let's see, this one. Alright, so that's the end of that looping. And so then we move on to the band that we placed horizontal. Okay, so in my case I placed this gold band on the side pegs going across. So you want to go in to where that band is on your peg. So the first band on your peg should be this blue. In my case it's blue. This is the band that I looped back from the center. And then we have the horizontal band that we placed, and under that is the other part of that V band. So we want to go into the second band down. We want to go from the outside like this, and we want to pull it over top and to the center peg like that. And we want to do the same thing on this side. So we want to go in, grab that horizontal band that we placed, which is the middle band on this peg here, bring it up over the peg and to the center like that. And we want to do that all the way up our loom. So you can see the two horizontal band, the one horizontal band, but it's compressed down because we already did that when we looped our center chain. So we want to take that on the outside, bring it up to the center peg, outside, up to the center peg. Again, outside, up to the center peg, outside, up to the center peg. So it's fairly simple as long as you grab the right band. Into our last one here. Okay, that's what your loom should be looking like right now. Okay, so we have 2 more steps to go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push down all the middle bands or any bands that are sticking up. I think our side band should be good. They should be pushed down, but if not, push them down. And so we have 2 more steps to go, and traditionally we usually loom up our border bands last, but we're going to do that next. So we want to go inside our cap band, grab the first band on top, in my case it's the one to the left, pull that back to itself, and then I'm going to go ahead and just pull the right one over as well. So then we're just going to loom up our perimeter bands up both sides. So most importantly when creating this bracelet is you always want to make sure that all of your bands stay in order. Meaning on your pegs, don't make sure that they are all in the correct order, because we pull different bands in different steps of the bracelet in the non-traditional form of looming, and so we want to make sure that we're pulling the correct one. So just want to keep an eye out on order. Alrighty, one more to go, and that's complete. So then now we want to go and push down all of our bands on the outside pegs, and we're going to do our last step, which is, if you look on your pegs, on your outer pegs, you have, and I'll just do this in reference of mine, I have a gold band, and then I have these two blue bands right there, and then I have the other gold band. So the blue is sandwiched in between the gold. What I want to do is we want to go inside right here. From the outside of the peg, we want to grab the second blue band. So this is your V band. You want to grab the third band down from the top of the pin, and you want to, from the outside, pull it up and over like that. But you have to make sure that you go inside these teardrop bands, your perimeter bands, and grab that third band from the top and pull it out, up and over. And we want to do that on both sides of our bracelet, all the way up our loom. And this is why I was explaining it's a good idea to just double check and make sure, like on this one here, my bands may not be in the correct order. So I want to make sure that I'm grabbing that second band and not the first. Okay, and you don't have one on that last peg. So then we want to go to our other side and we want to do the same thing, just making sure that we are going inside and grabbing it and bringing it up and over. There we go. So that is our finished looping of the bracelet. So that's what you should have. And we place the band down here in the beginning, and that's the band that we're going to go inside this peg, and it'll be the bottom band. We're going to grab that one, bring it up and over, and that will hold all of our bands on our hook. So you can grab this bracelet and pull it straight off the loom, but I'm going to take my cap band on the bottom here, and I mean, you don't have to take out the outer pegs. You can simply pull this off, but I'm using these metallic bands, which they very well could stretch out of shape if pulled on, so I'm just going to be careful and take mine off, just the outer pegs, so that way they don't stretch out of shape whenever I do take it off the loom. So then the only bands left on my loom should be the center peg to pull off. But it's not going to hurt your bracelet if you do pull the bracelet off the loom. Alright, so once you have it off the loom, you can place your C-clip in there, or you can start on your single chain. Unless you did 2 looms in length, then you could just C-clip it to the other side of the bracelet. So I'm just taking it and I'm just pulling it apart right here, because how it comes off the loom is not the exact look of the bracelet. We want to separate that. Even when you pull on it after you separate it, it still keeps it in the correct form. So there is your bracelet. You have a nice border, and yours may look different than mine because I used the same color for these bands right here, which were the horizontal bands to kind of give it a little stick up a little bit. I used the same color as my border, so it's all kind of matching. And then you have your wrap bands and then your single chain, and this is what the back looks like, which is just a couple single chains up. So I'll show you this one here, which looks a tad different, and it's only because I used a different color for these side bands, but they still came out great. So fabulous design. It's very simple. It's totally traditional as far as adding the bands. The only thing that's different is just the looping process. So again, on Instagram, JASIS Looms, which I have down in the description box below. It's JASIS Looms. Very fabulous Elementrix design. So we want to thank her for her design, and make sure you hashtag us your renditions, because I think you've got a lot of possibilities, and I'm already thinking where Bling would be a pretty cool choice on which bands in the bracelet. So pretty excited to see who can add some bling to it as well. So again, thanks for watching. I've got a ton more tutorials coming up, so make sure you stay tuned, and see you next time. Thanks. Bye.